Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So before we get started, and I know a lot of you guys are watching and just sitting there, so please hit that like button, and 100 plus likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, and all kinds of setups, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into it. Just a heads up what's coming tomorrow night. We got big earnings from Nvidia. An expected move is 10%, so we could see Nvidia going down 10% or going up 10%. And also if there is a 2 sigma move, we could see a lot more volatility here on Nvidia and also in overall stock market. On Apple, stock is down 0.41%, and Apple, especially when RSI gets down to 35, you know there is not much downside. But also keep that in mind, we do have this head and shoulder pattern. We got the head, left shoulder, and right shoulder. So are we going to see this RSI getting a bit lower and then a big spike from this bullish falling wedge, or this head and shoulder pattern going to play out completely and this thing will dump even more? We just have to wait and find out. So far, you can look at my screen, 180, 180, 180, 180 today again, and we got a bounce, and now trading at 182. So Apple was actually on my list today. Buy areas on Apple 180, 179, and this did hit 180 exactly today. I mean, exactly to the pennies, and then we got a bounce back up to the upside. Now trading at 181.56, and why? Because it was going below lower Bollinger Band, came back up, and now trading above 180. So that's going to be the big support to watch on Apple. And you can see Apple stock actually takes out this low 180. You're going to see a lot more bleeding here on Apple, and this thing can come down even more easily, 177, 173, even 170. Now to the upside, Apple needs to break 183. And now that would be a breakout from this downtrend and also breakout from this bullish falling wedge. And above 183, this thing can go all the way up to 186.18 and up to this gap 186.79. And then Apple will have strong resistance at 188. And why? 20-day moving average right here sitting at 188 and then 190. But watch this key level here on Apple, guys, 180, because below 180 you're going to see a lot more selling, and this head and shoulder pattern right here will play out, and Apple can dump all the way down to 166 to 165. And here's my X account, and if you're on there, definitely give me a follow, and there is no subscription, nothing you gotta go through. And not only my plays, I do post lots of things, expected moves, and especially charts like this one and this one here that actually broke out today, CLX. Now let's have a look at the trades today, and this was fantastic. Not only once, 2 times. And you can see Walmart early in the morning, right at opening, it was trading above 180. We got puts this Friday expiration. Guess what? It was only 10 cents. And if you actually got filled at 8 cents, it's even cheaper. And we got almost 100% on that play. But this thing ran up to 200%. From 10 cents, got up to 30 cents just after I sold. Now, not only that, we actually played Walmart for next week at 181, got 175 puts, and those were 78 cents a piece. And guess what? That one ran up to almost 80% also. And this was fantastic. I got in twice, and this thing actually paid. Now this was another one right here, and that is from last week when IWM was trading at 203, got 200 puts, and I was holding half of my position, and you can see today exploded, guys. This thing came down to where? 198, went through the roof. These puts right here on IWM. Now all these trade ideas, and if you want to support the channel, definitely check out that link down below in the description for Patreon. On AMD, it's down almost 5%, and AMD I actually played today, got in right here exactly at 164. This thing bounced. I was up like 10%. I didn't take it. This thing came down, got stopped out for I think 10% or maybe even less than that. I got out soon as this thing came below 164 and then came down to 162. But once again, the key here, hold the support 164, and that is holding into closing. Now I'm not going to swing trade AMD here, especially at 165. It's not within my buy range, so that was a day trade, a small position I took right here on AMD and got out really quickly, and now it's trading above 164, which is a key level to hold right here on AMD, because below that you're going to see a dump off down to 155 and possibly down to this gap just under 149. Now, as long as AMD can hold 164, yes, we could see a bounce early as tomorrow up to this gap, 173.25. And if you look at my screen, now that is the level here on AMD to break, because 173.25 gap, and then we have 20-day moving average right here sitting at 173. So that is the resistance to watch on AMD, 173, and once we get above this level, then definitely 180 possible on AMD. Now you can see lots of things happening on AMD. We got a fake breakdown right here. Immediately this thing went back up. And then we got a fake breakout to the upside. We also got a mini confirmation. It was holding right here. And now today, I mean, you can see this thing is all over the place. Came under this critical support 164, went back up. So it's all over the place, and especially up until we get earnings from Nvidia. This thing will be all over the place every day up until at least tomorrow. So going into tomorrow's session, to the downside, 164, that's going to be your line in the sand on AMD, and then 155. To the upside, next big resistance right here, 173, and then the gap above 173.25. And once we get above these levels right here, then watch out for a move, especially with earnings coming out from Nvidia. If they beat and Nvidia pops, then this thing definitely going up to easily another fresh new all-time high, and that could be anywhere from 184 to 195. On Meta, it's down only 0.33%, came down to 466.56, went back up, and now holding 470 as a support into closing. Now we got this nice range, or you can call this a box right here. It's trading in between 490 and 452. So if we actually get that breakout over 490, that is the confirmation this thing can go up even more, up to 500 to even 515.84, and that is gonna be a massive breakout over 490. Now also Meta takes out bottom of this range, which is 452, then you're going to see a dump off easily down to 438.87 and possibly even lower on Meta. So going into tomorrow's session, 470, a big level of support right here to watch, and just below that 463 and then 452. Above 470, this thing can run all the way up to 490. On Amazon, stock is down 1.43%, and for the first time, Amazon closing right at the support 167, and this thing was not able to recover today, and now closing at 167, pretty much right at this support. Also came down to 20-day moving average, you can see right on my screen, and that is sitting at 165.45, came down, we got a bounce, went back up, and now holding 167. So now, going into tomorrow's session, that is going to be a support to watch, 167 and then 165.43, and then watch out for a dump off down to 162, and then this gap right here just below 160. To the upside, Amazon now needs to break, I would say 170 right here, and above 170 you're going to see a move up to this gap, 171.54, and then 173 also will be a big resistance to watch on Amazon. On Tesla, stock is down 3%. Now, one thing here on Tesla, this uptrend is so far holding right here. Also, inverse head and shoulders so far, I mean, it's still in play. The only thing we don't have here on Tesla, no breakout over 200. And that is the confirmation I'm looking at. This thing breaks out over 200, then immediately you're going to see Tesla coming up to this gap, 206.77, and then possibly running up to 212. Now, one thing I want to point out, this Bollinger Band on top, not actually going up. It's coming down So it's right here at 206, and that is not a bullish indication unless we get some really good catalyst here on Tesla. I mean, it's going to be really hard to move to the upside, at least for now. And also, you can see today, Tesla came down to where? 189. It was holding 13-day moving average right here. All these moving averages right here are support on Tesla, which is sitting in between 189 to 193. And so far into closing, the only good news here today on Tesla is holding all these moving averages right here and also holding this uptrend. So yes, this could be a fake breakdown here on Tesla. So watch out tomorrow. As long as Tesla can stay above, I would say 193, then we could see that move back up to 200. And once we get that breakout over 200, there is going to be that big confirmation for this inverse head and shoulder to play out completely. And then Tesla can move all the way up to not only this gap, 206.77, up to even 212 and higher. Below 193, you want to watch 189 to 188, bottom of this uptrend. And then below that, this thing can come down again, and this inverse head and shoulder will not play out, and Tesla will dump all the way back down to 180. On Google, stock is up 0.31%, and Google coming down to 140, and you can see 140 was holding, not quite touching exactly 140, but it was there, and then went back up and also got a rejection right here from this 50-day moving average, which is sitting at 143. So here on Google, big support down here, 140, and below that watch out for 135. To the upside, Google needs to break 143, and once we get over 143, then watch out for a move up to this gap right here just above 145. On Microsoft is down 0.31%, and you can see clearly Microsoft actually breaking down and coming under 400. But then again, dip buyers buying up the dip, and I did put out levels for you guys, especially for my members. On Microsoft, 398, 399 was the dip buy today, and if you actually caught it, you made some decent money. Now this thing went back up and almost trading at 403 before closing, so that is a big move, almost 4 or 5 bucks up from bottom. So going into tomorrow's session, here on Microsoft, you're line in the sand 400. Below that, 395.90, lower Bollinger Band 394, and then this gap at 390. Now Microsoft will find resistance right here, 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 406. We also will have resistance at 407, 20-day moving average, and once we clear, I would say 407, this thing can possibly run up to this high, 410, and then watch out for a move up to this gap just above 413 or 414 right here on Microsoft. Netflix going down 1.51% and came all the way down to 569, just above 567, this orange line, 13 SMA, and then we got a bounce and now trading at 575 at the closing. So going into tomorrow's session, watch out for the support 567 and then 564, down to this gap 559. To the upside, Netflix will find resistance right here at 577, and if we can clear that, then watch out for a move back up to 588 and possibly up to even 600. On Nvidia, stock is down 4.35%, and now it's down again almost 2%, trading at 682, and Nvidia was all over the place today. Yes, this thing got a massive bounce from 677, got up to almost 700, and now trading again back down to 682. So tomorrow night we have earnings from Nvidia, and that is gonna be a massive one because expected move, that is $83.41, and that could shake up the market definitely. Now to the downside for tomorrow, on expected move for earnings, 642.72, and to the upside 809.54. And if this is actually 2 sigma move, then add another 83.41, and that is gonna be massive. I mean, this thing could be going crazy tomorrow night, or we could just get nothing out of this stock. This thing can stay flat, and that is how earnings are. Sometimes they don't do anything, and that is why it's really a big gamble to play earnings, unless you're buying something cheap and you made some money in this market from today. Yes, maybe you can play something cheap, but all the options are also jacked up. They're really expensive. Today, AMD contracts, they were jacked up also. It was asking for like 350 for weekly expiration, 170 calls. So that is just crazy, guys. So going into tomorrow's session, Nvidia will definitely move above 700. Watch out for a move up to 714 to 715, up to this gap 725, and so far it's staying below 700. So watch out for this support down here, 671, 666, and then this channel right here, bottom of this expected move, 640 to 72, and then this gap 631.91. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think where this thing will be tomorrow night, especially after earnings?